you know, we do want to take your questions as well. Just know that it will be kind of condensed because I could probably demo eMedicalFusion for somewhere between 5 and 10 hours. So, you know, we're going to definitely get that, you know, squeezed down to into that hour time frame tonight. And in order to do that, we're going to, you know, zip through some things pretty quickly. So again, look forward to seeing a lot of you also as well at the actual event here in a couple of days. And I'm going to now share my screen and make sure that everyone can see it. Can everyone see my screen at this point?
I know that
Can anyone not see my screen? That would be the better way to answer. Is there anyone not seeing?
I think everybody is good. I don't have any questions coming up or any responses coming up saying that they can't see it. So I think we are good.
Okay, so I'm just going to, first of all, a lot of times everybody asks me, what is eMedicalFusion and what all does it include? So I'm going to try to answer that question with this one slide. I've actually got about a 7 or 8 slide presentation, and for those of you that are going to be at the live event, I'll be covering this presentation in more detail on Friday actually. But in any event, what eMedicalFusion is it really is the only complete solution that's really in the marketplace for direct pay practitioners. And we do cover all of the areas mentioned on the screen. So that's, of course, the electronic health record, very robust practice management that's specifically targeted for the direct pay practitioner, built-in e-commerce, and that's very important. So our e-commerce, in other words, how you're going to collect the money, is all built into the software. You don't need any exterior terminals or anything else. Everything is inside of the software. We do have an online registration process, which you'll see a little bit of tonight. Very importantly for a lot of you, especially I know you guys are pretty connected with Apex Energetics, we have a web store, otherwise known as a shopping cart, that's going to give you another revenue stream. And again, it's all fully integrated into the one software package. At the same time, I know a lot of you are being trained to think of your business as a business and think of yourselves as a CEO. And with our QuickBooks integration, we're going to give you the business, we're going to give you the information that a big business would have in order to run its business. So we're going to basically integrate all of those transactions that are happening in your EHR directly into QuickBooks so that you can get robust reporting. We also have a patient portal, and it's very robust, and that's going to allow you to do a lot of self-service so that your patients can schedule their own appointments and they can buy their own things without having to call the office. And so it's a very 21st century solution that supports the concept of self-service. Our solution also includes a vendor portal, as we call it, for our drop shippers, and we have about 7 or 8 of those. So not only Apex Energetics, but if any of you are using some of the other top products like Designs for Health and Neuroscience and Metagenics and Ortho Molecular and several others, these vendors will all drop ship for the eMedicalFusion clients. And so basically it allows you to have a solution to earn a new revenue stream without having to stock products in the office. And then finally, the CEO reporting is something that, as a part of our preferred supplier relationship with FPC, we're going to be kind of building out more directly that CEO reporting. It's certainly all available in our portal today. Between the dashboard and the QuickBooks, you can get everything that you need for that CEO reporting that you owe into in the FPC. But we're going to make it even easier here in the next several weeks or so. So that is kind of in a nutshell what eMedicalFusion is. So I don't want you to think it's just an EHR. It's way more than an EHR. It's the only complete solution in the marketplace that any other solution you get, you're going to have to add a bunch of other things onto it in order to get what eMedicalFusion has in the one tool set. All right. With that, we're going to move into a demo. I don't want to spend a lot of time into the product. On the PowerPoint, we're going to get right into the demo. So to do that, we're actually going to start with the ePatient portal side of things, and that's where your patients would interact with the system. I do want you to understand that, you know, I'm going to be demoing from this practice called the DH Wellness Center, but in the reality, all of these portals are branded for the individual practice. So your portal would have your brand on it, whatever that is, whatever your practice brand is, that's what logo would be here. So it's not like it's going to all be DH Wellness or eMedicalFusion or something like that. Your practice brand will be on this particular site, and you'll have your own distinctive URL that is a part of our system. The other thing I want to mention is that everything in our system can be accessed purely with a laptop or an iPad and an internet connection. You do not need any installation of any sort of little scripts or little code or anything else. You just need to know your URL, your username, your password, and have an internet connection, and you can get to the software from any place in the world, so it's not even limited to the United States, okay? So with that, what I'm going to do is show you how a new person, a new patient or a client, depending on which way you look at them, would interact with your practice. And, you know, typically you're going to have, I'm just going to show you here, here's one of my practices, Dr. Breen. So you're going to have your own website, and from that website you can direct folks to this patient area, the same place that we're at now. That's Dr. Breen's patient portal. So there's a lot of ways you'll be able to direct them, but right now we're going to act like we're registering now on the DH Wellness e-patient portal. Now, I'm not going to actually, to keep this short, I'm not going to actually fill in all these screens. I'm just going to show it to you, and I've already pre-filled one that we're actually going to work with in a few moments. But this is the screen that a patient would come to. They would put in their username, they put in their password that they desire, they would put in all the rest of the typical demographics, first, middle, and last name, their phone numbers, and notice we do support international phone numbers, so we, you know, just by clicking that button, you get the international capability under the phone numbers. Of course, their date of birth, their sex, their email address, other information about them that we need from a health perspective, their race, marital status, and then this one is for marketing purposes. It's nice to know how people found you, so you can have your own list of referral sources here, and then if you happen to be a multi-location practice, we can also have multiple locations here. Other than that, you'll put in your address information down there, and you would click Create Your Profile. Once you've done that, that's going to create your profile into the system successfully and allow you to log in and continue. So at this point, fast forwarding to that next step where I'm going to go ahead and log in with that profile. Like I mentioned, I created it a little bit a while ago just to save a few minutes here in the demo. So I am again logging in as a patient that is directly registering for your site. Beth, I'm getting an echo here just in the last 30 seconds or so. I don't know if there's anything we can do, but I am getting an echo.
Oh, well, that's
Are you guys getting an echo or not?
I don't hear an echo, no, sir.
Okay, well, I'll try to deal with it. It's a little tricky, but we'll try to deal with the echo.
Chris Colvin says that they are getting an echo as well. Gosh, I don't know what to do about that. Let me go ask my tech guy. Maybe he can tell me.
And I'm on the phone. I'm not on the web, so normally on the phone it avoids any echoes or anything. I'm not sure.
Let me go ask my tech guy. Keep going, and I'll go see if there's something we can do.
Okay, all right, so I'm going to try to talk through this, guys. But in any event, now I've logged in after having completed the demographics, and the next step would be for me to complete my health history form. So there's some general instructions here, and I click the button here to go ahead and fill that up. Now, what you're going to see here is our one of our standard forms. We have 4 standard health history forms that you can choose from, or we can actually create your own. If you have one that you love already, we can create that one in our software for you for a small additional implementation charge. Once again, I've already pre-filled this form, so I don't have to do a lot of typing, and so you can see here that I've filled in my emergency contacts and a lot of this extended demographics, some insurance information, my preferred lab, and things like that. I fill that in. When I do that, I just click the next button. Now we've got a reason for consultation, feeling fatigued, etc. And so this is, again, a free text area that the patient can write in why they're coming to see you, and we'll go on to the next screen. The next screen is typical medical history information. There's a full screen of checkboxes, yes and no, that patients can check. Of course, they can only check one or the other. And so, and once they're done, they would click next. Notice also that one of the nice things about our form structure is that at any point in time, they can save and return later and go to dinner. And that's actually what I did, and that's how I got back into this form without having to retype all of this. The next page here has got some other places for them to indicate other health issues that they might have and surgeries and things of that nature. And so we'll continue. The next page here is a place for them to list their medications and their supplements. And you might say, wow, there's only 3 lines. If my patients have 10, they just keep pressing add line, and they can add as many lines as they need for medications and supplements just by clicking the add line button. This is also where they would indicate any allergies and then any preventive test history. So again, I've already filled this in, and so we're just going to continue. Now, the form has branched at this point. If I had indicated I was a female, I would have gotten a female-specific page, and now I'm getting a male-specific page. And you can see this page here is for men only. So, again, females will get a female page, and men will get a man's page. And so I filled that information in as well. At this point, I'm on the family history page, and, typically functional doctors are very interested in family history. So we've got a pretty good family history page here. You can indicate what diseases have been occurring in the family, and then some others down here. The next page here is a social history page. We can indicate kind of what's going on overall in our life, overall health, fitness level, under a lot of stress, things like that. What's our dietary situation? Are we eating a lot of sugar and soda and things like that? What's our exercise patterns? Are we exercising? What's our tobacco use and our alcohol use? So again, those are kind of all social history things. And then a place for the patient to indicate others, to offer things like interest and what. Once they're done, the electronic signature process is checking the box and then simply dating the form. And then once they're done with all that, they would click submit. That submits the form securely to our server. Everything we're doing here is fully HIPAA compliant. Nothing is being shared over any unsecure spaces. You'll notice here that we do have the lock, and we are under HTTPS the entire time. As soon as that form is submitted, it is immediately available to you in the patient management portal, which is the portal that you as a practitioner would be using. We'll just quickly get on through. The next step here is the HIPAA form. As you know, you're required to comply with HIPAA. You're required to give them a notice of privacy practices, and then the Act requires you to get proof that they've actually received it. So that's what this is. They're just simply attesting to the fact that you've made your privacy practices available to them. So this one's pretty simple. They just attest to that, and then they can submit the form and continue. The last step we'll see is we'll have some variance in some practices, and this can be configured depending on your particular practice. About 60 to 70% of functional practices require payment up front. The other ones don't. So if you didn't require payment up front, then you would skip, this step wouldn't be there. If you do require payment up front, then we, of course, would provide this step for your patients. So it allows them, you can have more than one scenario for initial visit. A lot of practices might have a shorter and a longer and a medium visit, depending on what all the variety of things they treat. So here I've got a comprehensive and I've got a shorter visit. I'm going to go ahead and pick my comprehensive visit. It brings in the price. It also brings in the opportunity for you to post your terms and conditions. I'm not going to open this, but it's got a bunch of information about what's included in the service and what's not. And so you can choose to have that for every service that's offered in the system. And the patient has to click that they agree to it in order to continue. We support both real-time payments as well as deferred payments. So you'll see here in this scenario, this payment is being deferred to the 20th. And we can talk about that later if there's any questions. But again, we support both a real-time payment. It's up to you. So if you want them to pay right now, you can require them to pay right now. Or if you want to allow them a deferred payment, you can allow them a deferred payment. I'm just going to go ahead and put in some credit card information here. That'll let me check out. And once I do that, I can go ahead and click to complete the transaction. System is validating now. It's setting up that transaction to happen on the 20th automatically, so there's no further action that you need to do. And now it's going to allow the patient to schedule their initial appointment. So I'll go ahead and click continue. And scheduling is very easy in the system. The patient just simply clicks the plus bar to get to a day they want. Let's say they want to make the appointment on the 20th. All they have to do, and again, it's only going to allow them to make the visit they just paid for because we're still inside of our confined intake environment. So they simply click the white square, and now they confirm that Friday the 20th with Dr. Hauser for an hour and a half, and they just click finish. So it's very simple to click to make the appointments. No complexity there at all. White square is available, gray square is not. Your specific, all the parameters of your schedule is actually set up through configuration on the back. So from a patient perspective, it presents simply as white squares are available and gray squares are not. But on the backside, you decide when you're available for that type of appointment, so on and so forth. Okay, so with that in mind, we've now completed the entire intake process. This is usually a good stopping point. If there's any questions before I move on, I'll take any questions right here.
Andre, currently there are no questions.
Okay, great. Well then, guys, we're going to continue on. We're done with the intake process, and now I'm just going to show you highlight a few of some of the rest of the patient portal. So again, the patient portal, edit my profile, allows the patient at any point to go back and update any of that demographic information, so they don't have to call your office to do that. They can simply go in and update that, and it, of course, updates in real time. They can also send secure communications to the practice. This is a very important feature because it supports you being HIPAA compliant and also provides a way to keep the entire communication chain as a part of the patient record. So the patient can send messages to the practice. We'll say a clinical refill, and we'll say have let's see, I got my clicking too fast here. Have a headache today. So maybe the patient will say, Doc, what should I do for my headache? All right, and they can send that off, and that will instantly be in your inbox on the patient management portal, and whoever was the department owner would also get an email notification just that there's a message, but not the content. Again, it's HIPAA compliant. There's nothing going across the email, and nothing to get lost or go into spam or any of that. The next thing the patient can see, if we had anything there, would be they can see all their RX order, refill, and plan. So they can see their medication list. So whatever medications and supplements you prescribe for them would be visible on that tab. We'll see that a little bit later. And also, if you've used our clinical plan builder to create a clinical plan, the clinical plan would be available on that tab as well. Lab results, this is where they would see any lab results that come through our integrated lab results portal. And you can make those lab results available to the patient, and the patient will be able to see them directly there. Schedule appointment is where they go to schedule additional appointments beyond now the initial appointment. Online store is where they would go to purchase supplements and things of that nature that maybe weren't on their medication list. So again, your online store is going to look like your particular brand, not like our DH Wellness store. Make payments, of course, is where they go to make other payments for services. And then financial statement allows them to see their financial statement with the practice in real time. So again, the patient portal is very robust. It gives them a lot of options for being able to, gives you a lot of options for being able to support your patients without having to always take a phone call, which, ties up people, okay? So with that, we're going to wrap up on the patient portal side, and now we're going to drop back to the patient management side. So it looks very similar, but now we're going to log into the patient management portal and get over here to where where you would do your work. Okay, so when I log in, there's a few things that I'm going to see right off the top here. These are my work streams up here, so we try to give you all your work streams in an easy-to-see format. The intake files is where the health history form and files that were just submitted. Secure communications, of course, is where you're going to go to find those secure messages that have come in. RX refills is pretty much what it is. That's where your prescription refills that have come through the portal would be shown. Patient follow-ups is your tickler list for follow-ups that you put in your clinical note for situations where patients need follow-up. The next part of the dashboard shows you the status of the patients that are in intake. The top part are leads that have not yet started to register, but they've expressed interest and you sent them the email that lets them register into your system. The middle section here shows people that have started but maybe not have finished. So the Andre Ethely 110, you can see here, he's completed his health history form and his HIPAA form. His payment will show up here in a little while. That one takes a few minutes, and then the appointment, of course, has been made already. So we can see just by the dashboard what stage people are in as a part of the intake process. The other thing that I could see down here, if I was a real practice and they had real data, is I could really see the business health, and this is where we start providing some of that CEO reporting data. We can see our number of appointments today, this week, last week, and this month, and we get to see it in comparison to our own goals. So you get to set your own goals. Your goals will be in the green. We're saying 5 to 9 appointments a day or 26 to 36 in a week. that's this particular practice. Your goals are whatever they are. And when we configure these dashboard items for you, we would configure that to match your goals. And then the yellow and the red shows where you've fallen short. So basically, at a glance, you can see how you're doing against your goal. In the same way, when it comes to patient acquisition, how many new patients have you brought in this month? How many have you sold programs to? How many have you renewed on programs? How many inquiries have you gotten? All those things go towards really patient acquisition. And so once again, we give you a row of patient acquisition dashboard there that helps you to understand what's going on in your business. So again, a lot of these dashboards, 3 or 4 of these are directly the elements that are asked for in the CEO report. Okay, so that's kind of where we are with the CEO reporting. Some of the other stuff is going to come a little bit later. We're going to continue on now. So one of the next things you'd be interested in is in understanding how you're going to manage leads, because again, our system is very complete, and we also help you manage leads, and they're called EIMS inquiries. So these are our inquiry management system, and we part of our system is we give you a little plug-in that goes on your website, your web page. So most web pages, for example, I'm going to go here to Sean. Most web pages have a contact form, something that looks something like this. And when a patient submits that contact form, we actually, with this plugin, we grab that data and populate it into the system. So that's how these records are getting here. And then also, for any that call in, you can, of course, add your own inquiry records. So basically, this is how you're going to trap all of your inquiry records in one system. You don't need a separate CRM or something like that. We're going to let you trap all of your lead records in one system here, whether they were phoned-in leads or whether they came in through the website. Now let's open one of these leads and see how we can work with it. So when we open one of these leads, there's several ways we can work with it. One of the things we can do as a staff member is we can, let's say we wanted to call John. This is John Sanders, and we talked to him and we made some notes. So, we might say, spoke to patient, ready to get started. Okay, he's ready to get started. You've sold him you've used what you've learned at FPC, and you found out what's important to him, and you sold him, and he says, hey, I'm ready to get started. So we can save that, and then what we can do is we just click this button here, send intake form email, and it sends one of our pre-formatted emails. Now, we've got about 40 of these in the system that are going to help you with your communication so you're not having to create things from scratch. So this one here is already built. It says, dear Don, thanks for the inquiry. You can call us if you need more to ask more questions. Otherwise, click this link here, and then you'll be able to follow the same registration process that you saw me demonstrate earlier. So that's what you're doing here, and all you've got to do is click send, and away that email goes to John. So very simple for you to engage with your leads, make notes about them, and then get them engaged with your process. And later on, actually I won't get to it later on, I'll just tell you now that as these leads convert, there's a way for you to mark them as a converted lead. You'll see this link down here, converted lead. So as they convert, you're able to mark them to a converted lead, and so now you're able to get your reporting about how many leads you converted for the month based on the fact that you're able to mark these leads as being either converted or else they're not interested. So you'll want to mark them, fairly quickly as you can, not interested or whatever. But nonetheless, of course, they stay in your system because people that aren't interested today, sometimes they're interested in 6 months. So they don't go anywhere. They're all going to be in your system. All right. Like I said, at any point in time, you can also add a new inquiry for like a phone inquiry. You just get a screen like this. All you need is first name, last name, email address, and phone number, and you can put any text that you want here. So very robust system for supporting your leads. Okay. One of the next things, and again, I'm going to keep this tour moving pretty quickly because I want to get through a lot here in the hour that we have, and I want to get you guys done pretty close on time. One of the next things then you might want to know about is how you go about actually checking out a person. So we've seen a person register, we've seen them schedule an appointment, and so now they're at the appointment and it's time to sell them some things and check out. All right, so one of the things we can do is we can go ahead and just click on them right here from the dashboard, and from there we can click on our Make Payments page, which is the checkout page. Now, from here, let's assume, for example, that that we sold a person that we're going to sell them a program. So we're going to click the Program Purchase button, and behind each one of these buttons, you can have an unlimited number of items that represent the services that you sell, okay? So I've got one here called a Gold Wellness Program, 12-month Gold Program. So I'm going to go ahead and sell in this particular program. And at the same time, so this program, and this is a lower cost than a lot of your programs, but hopefully the point's still the same. Of course, the price will be whatever you make it. We can have a variety of different payment options, and this is the beauty of having built-in e-commerce as opposed to like the swipe type thing that's outside where you really don't have a lot of choices. So with this, we can not only, of course, take monthly payments, for example, if we want, whatever options we've enabled for this particular program. So in this case, we're going to take monthly. We actually support monthly, quarterly, every other month, and even weekly. So we support a number of different payment options that you can offer to your patients. Okay. In fact, let me just get a different program. Let me get rid of this one. I think the Platinum program has more options. So I'm going to get my Platinum program here and drop that in. And now we'll see there's a single payment option. And then, yeah, here's some of my other options. So here's every 3 months, for example. And notice I can have up to 4 installments on every 3 months. And the system automatically recalculates what that payment amount is. If I drop it down to 3 installments, you see it's $733. So the system keeps recalculating the payment amount, so I don't have to have a calculator out trying to figure that stuff out. The system will just figure that out. And once I click through this transaction, it'll automatically make these payments happen without any further interaction from me. These payments will happen on the stated dates automatically, and that's the beauty, again, of built-in e-commerce. It's all built in within the system. So let's go ahead and sell this program to this particular patient. We're just going to put in some payment information here. You can also use a little USB type swipe device if you want to key the card instead of keying the cards in. But as you'll see, we also save the card numbers. So once you've keyed it in the first time, you're not going to need to do that again. And so we just go ahead and click complete transaction. So that's going to go out and process that transaction and set up that payment stream that we saw, the 733. And it'll also do other functions like, for example, you can see now this person has already been added into our 12-month Platinum program, and it already knows that their expiration date is 11/10/2016. So that information was updated in real time as soon as we sold the particular patient this program. Now, I'm also aware that you guys also have this concept of program buckets or program certificates, and so I'll show you how that would work with our system as well. So let's say, for example, part of your program is you're going to sell them a program bucket. In this case, I'm going to use prepaid fees for labs. So if they're going to buy a prepaid bucket of labs for $1,000, again, this number can be whatever you want it to be, and it can be variable as well. You can go ahead and again now and you can sell them this bucket. So we can go ahead and sell them this bucket here. And we can actually use a card that's on file already, so we don't need to actually key the card in again. So we're going to go ahead and click complete transaction, and we're selling them this bucket of labs. So we're getting the cash now. Labs. So we're getting the cash now, and we want the system to help us keep track of this process in the future. So what you're seeing here is the system is printing out both the order confirmation, and then as well, it's actually going to print out the actual program certificate. So in some cases, you might want to give it to them. In other cases, you don't necessarily need to. Depends on whether you're using it as a program certificate or as like a true gift certificate, because the same functionality is also used for a gift certificate. So I'm just going to show you, since you can't see what prints out, I just printed it to my screen here. And I'm going to just show you that printout so you'll see it. So I've got it on my screen now, and there's our program certificate. So from there, we need to actually I need to go back and do. I missed one step on that program certificate, so let me go back. So one of the things I neglected to do was to indicate whether it was a gift certificate or a program certificate. So I do that here. and then I need to also identify associated with the patient. And so we're going to go ahead and do that. And so we'll find our patient here. And this is what I skipped the first time, so apologize for that. Let's see. So there we go. There's our patient, and now we can go ahead and pay for the certificate. Whoops, that card's expired. So that will happen sometimes. You'll have a card on file and it expires, and hopefully you have another one that hasn't expired. Okay, so now we've got the certificate that's been generated, and you can see there's the program certificate there. It gives a redemption code in case, again, it's going to be used as sort of a gift certificate. So there's a redemption code on it, and that's how you would sell that program certificate. Now, let's go and take a quick look at what that looks like right now in the system. So we look at our certificate history function here. We can see these are different certificates that have been sold. And so we can see here, I'm just showing you how the different certificates that have been sold can be seen here. So here's the one here for 1110. That's who it was purchased for. There's $1,000 and there's $1,000 balance, okay? And so we can see, and that's actually both of them. The first one, I forgot to attach it to the patient. So we can see both of those certificates being there. So that's the way that would work. And now when it's time to actually redeem that certificate, let's go and do that part. So we're going to find this patient again, and we will we'll redeem the certificate. So in this case, we'll say that the person is going to buy some labs. Just pick a couple of labs here to drop in here. We'll just pick this one. So they're going to buy some labs. That's $110. They indicate they want to pay with the certificate. The system will find the certificate that's associated with that patient, shows that there's a $1,000 balance, and now we can go ahead and check out with that certificate, and then the system will draw down that $110 off the balance and then keep the balance there on the card. So we've completed that transaction. Let's go back and take a look at our history again. Let's see here, this certificate history. And so now we can see that this is the one here. It's got $1,000. We just drew off of it $110, and so the system will continue to do that until it runs out. Okay? So that's how we support the certificate, the concept of the program buckets that you guys are doing. Any questions before I move on to clinical?
I just had something I need to bring to your attention on the clinical trial.
Are you showing any questions, Beth?
Yeah, lessons are good.
Okay. I assume no questions in, so we're going to move on.
Nope, no questions.
The last piece. Okay, the last piece we wanted to show you is the clinical system. So we got about 20 minutes here. We're going to kind of sledge through that. First I'm going to do is just kind of show you a completed patient and what it kind of looks like when we get to the end, and then we're going to go back and fill one up. So this is our clinical dashboard. This is where you come when you want to interact with a person at the clinical level. We can see their vitals over here, and our vitals allow you to have a baseline, a goal, and then, of course, all the measures that happen, and you can have any number of measures that you want. This is where you see the patient's active problem list. You can, of course, click into this, and you can actually see the detailed problem list from here, and including the status of the problem, how long it's been there, and all of that sort of thing. So we can see all that from the problem list. This is the person's medication list. We can see all their meds. The green ones are ones that have been deactivated. The ones in white are active, and then the ones in red are where there's a refill request. Notice we can also have supplements, nutraceuticals on this list as well, and so we can see down here there's some Metagenics and Zynogen supplements that are already attached to this patient. So again, we can have a very complete picture of the person, both with medications as well as nutraceuticals. One of the most robust parts of our clinical system is our clinical plan builder. So let's click into the patient plan. This is a part of our clinical note, but it's built using our special clinical plan builder tool. And it allows you to build a plan in what I call building blocks instead of like one big paragraph of text. And this allows then the system allows you to manage that plan going forward very easily. So you can see here we've got some plan elements for this person: eat balanced, healthy meals, limit intake of fast foods, take your supplements, reduce alcohol. And then you can see this is the way that a modified plan shows up. You can see here how it shows the strike through so that both you and the patient know there's been a change. So when you modify that plan element, it shows that visible strike through. Same way with this one here. The M stands for the plan has been modified. C stands for continue. So continue taking your DHE and pregnenolone, drink half your body weight in water, and do what I tell you to do. So I always have to have one smart one. So those are the plan elements that make up and comprise this person's plan. And the nice thing is you can also then choose to attach them to problems if you'd like to be able to show the relationship between what you're asking them to do and the problem. So you're asking them to eat balanced, healthy meals because they're overweight, they got heart disease. You're asking them to limit intake of fast foods because they've got an endocrine disorder, et cetera. So basically you can associate the problems so that from a clinical perspective, it helps to make sense of everything you're asking this patient to do. It helps to make sense of it. This particular plan, this screen is what I mentioned earlier, that's also in the patient portal. So this exact screen, the plan, is available in the patient portal. So when you finish creating the plan, it is available in the patient portal for the patient to be able to directly see and have. So therefore, you don't need a scribe, and they don't need to take copious notes, and they don't have to call your office back and say, well, what were those things he told me to do? So basically, you put it into your plan builder, and out comes this output, and so it's all set for you and the patient to be able to work with from there. And then any lab orders would be here, and then, of course, your encounters and notes and things would be here. So this is, again, the presentation of the clinical dashboard. We think it puts all the information that you need in one easy-to-read spot. And now I'm going to go back and finish working with the patient that we started with earlier. And that's the person that will kind of finish up the demo with doing some clinical things. So we're going to go ahead and find that person first. So this is the way you'll find patients. You can search by last name or first name or patient ID, whatever you know. And so we're going to go ahead and work with this patient. And if we want to work with them clinically, we just directly click the stethoscope, which takes us directly to here. The first thing we'll do is we'll start off with some vitals. You can see here that we've actually, I pre-put some of these vitals in just to save a little bit of time once again. So I had actually already put in the goal and the plan measure, the baseline and the goal. So you can see here that we allow you to put in a baseline and a goal, and then you can put in measures for each and every visit. And what you can see so far is we put in, here's his baseline. He's 73 inches tall. He's got blood pressure 125/85. He weighs 215 in total. We've got a body composition monitor, so we're able to put the weight in and detail body fat mass, dry lean mass, and water. So he's at 215 with 23% body fat. The goal we've set, which is kind of the average for men, is 15%. So we got him coming in. He needs to drop about 27 pounds. Most of that being fat. He needs to drop 22 pounds of fat in order to get down to our goal here. So so that's the way we've got him set up. And now what we can do is if he's into the office here for a visit, we'll say he's in for this visit here. We can go ahead and put in some measures for him. So we'll go ahead and put in some weight in some of these measures. So we'll go down here to blood pressure. We'll drop in at 120. Say he's at 122/82. We're not going to use these here enter because we can use our calculated stuff down here. So we're going to say he's at about maybe 40 pounds of fat, maybe 35 pounds of, whoops, I just clicked too soon there. Yeah, so let me do this again. So we're at 122/82, and body fat mass at 40, say dry lean at maybe 35, and his see, need to make this an office visit. His water, we'll say, is 130, and so we get him at 205, and so we can save that measure. So that's his measure. That's from today's visit, and once it saves that, then we'll start to see how he's doing. Now, while that's saving, also we'll mention that you can also load progress pictures into the system. So you can see here was his beginning picture, and here's his most recent picture. So he's making some nice progress there, and we can see that here as well. So we can see now that, you know, if we look at the latest measure, he's at 205, so he's down from 215. His body fat's down to 19% from 23%. And so we're making progress. And once you've got 3 or 4 measures in there, you'll actually get a trend that'll show up out here in a color. So it'll be green, yellow, red. So just at a glance, you can tell how he's doing against the goal that you set. So that's our vitals module. So again, you can record a baseline measure, a goal measure, and then all the measures for all the visits. And then you can also upload both a baseline as well as any number of progress pictures that you choose. Okay, if there's no questions, I will continue on.
There are no questions, Andre. You are good to go.
Okay. The next thing I want to show you is prescribing here really quickly. So we'll talk about prescribing. For prescribing, we support, of course, standard drugs as well as compounds, and so you'll see a little bit of both. And then as well, we support kind of the concept of prescribing, if you will, the nutraceuticals as well. So we're going to go to our RX page, and we can do all 3 from this one page. So we're going to start off, and we'll just, let's see, I don't think this guy has a pharmacy. So we'll use this test pharmacy. It's good enough for now. And we're going to do a standard drug. So we'll pick something like lisinopril, put him on 10 milligrams of lisinopril for his blood pressure. Let's see, I don't know if we got one here, standard tablet. So we're going to say take 1 tablet, PO daily. So we can use that. Quantity of 30, refills of 2. And we can tap through that, and then we can go ahead and finalize our script. So basically, if we are set with this, lisinopril tabs 10 milligrams to that pharmacy, we can go ahead and send it off. And because a lot of times these are mail order pharmacies now, as more and more of those, we ask you to verify the address in case it's going to a mail order pharmacy, so that you can make sure that the mail order pharmacy has the correct address. Because more and more plans now are requiring patients to use mail order pharmacies for drugs that are for chronic conditions. So that's prescribing a standard drug. We use Medispan database, so it's pretty standard. It's updated every month. It's got all the drugs in it. So pretty standard stuff. Let's next do a compound drug. So with compounds, we've got a very robust formulary already built out, so you don't have to, you know, with a lot of systems, you've got to go in and create your own clinic-defined formulary. We've got a formulary with like 10,000 items in it, so it's really got all kinds of combinations already built into it, so it saves you a lot of typing and data entry. I'm going to just pick capsules here. Actually, I'll pick a cream, and, you know, it brings up my strengths that I put into my particular space that I'm working with. And then from there, I can type my SIG. Once again, I've got a pre-built SIG that makes it easy. I just type in how much, and my pre-built SIG takes over, and now I'll put in, like, if I want 30 grams. And again, we'll put in 1 refill on this one. And once again, we can finalize in the same process again. We can transmit the script. And once again, we'll verify the address. So that's, again, very simple process, but very robust for prescribing compounds, saves you a lot of time. And so, again, we can do standard drugs and compounds just back-to-back like so. We also can add in any non-prescribed drugs. So if we have drugs that they're taking that we're not going to affect, and we just want to note those, that's what this section here is for. So I can either find it from the same list, or I can just write it in if it's something that wasn't on the list. And then also we'll briefly show how we do our nutraceuticals. So with nutraceuticals, we just pick the shopping cart items. And so we can pick something like, let's say we want a Metagenics item. So I just put in 2 letters to bring up Metagenics. And let's say we want glutagenics. So we just select that guy. And once again, we might say, in this case, just take as directed on the bottle. And typically with nutraceuticals, we just leave the refills at a high number, since you don't really care how many they get. You want them to keep getting them. So we'll just go ahead and save that one. We don't need to transmit. Since this is not really going anyplace, this is simply putting it onto their profile so that it can be ordered. So that's the process for, again, standard drugs, compound drugs, and nutraceuticals all can go on the chart in the way that we've described. Any questions? I'm going to move on to the clinical note here in a moment. Any questions before I get to the clinical note?
Andre, there are no questions at the moment.
Okay, great. All right, so with that in mind, then basically now we've prescribed, we've done the vitals, we've done some prescriptions, so we're ready to kind of do our clinical note and kind of start to finish things up for tonight. We're going to go over to the soap notes area, and I'm going to reset this so I'm not starting from anything. Now, one of the things we want to do in our notes is, of course, we've talked about the plan builder, which we're going to see in a moment. So there's a little bit of setup work that we would have been done where we set up our encounter types and things like that. This will be a new patient encounter. And also then we select into our note which appointment we're actually documenting. So we're documenting this November 11th. I'm sorry, this one here, this new patient appointment. So that's the one that we're documenting. It automatically populates the doctor and the date and all of that, and the new complaint. It knows there were vitals, so we've got the vitals box already checked, and now we just need to pick a template that we want to use. And we're going to pick this one here. Since a lot of you guys are functional doctors, I've got one here that's kind of tailor-made for functional. We have a lot of templates, but we'll create whatever template you need to effectively do your note. So there's no limit to templates. We do them for you. So again, we kind of take that pain point away. We know that a lot of docs hate having to create these templates in the system. So we take that pain point away from you and just create the templates that you need as a part of our configuration process and ongoing support. So this one, again, there's a lot of different ways to do a note. This one here is very functionally oriented. So, it's got a place for us to indicate overall progress, and we'll say they're better. And, we can then go to energy and fatigue, and we'll say it's better. And, we can go to, memory, and we'll say it's about the same. And sleep, we'll say it's, significantly better. So we can make whatever comments we want to make in these comment boxes. Weight, and we've already seen that we're down 10 pounds. Of fat, so that's a good thing. Libido, maybe it's about the same. This one here has obviously got some things in there that are more female-oriented. If we had lab results, we don't have any. If we had lab results, these pound signs would populate the lab results in there. So if we had automated lab results from Quest, LabCorp, or any of the other 50 labs that we're integrated with, they would populate directly into there. And then the vitals have already populated, so we can see these are the vitals that we recorded earlier, so they're already into my note. And so we can see that nice variance there. And then this is a place, the soft text box for us to type kind of our overall assessment, and diagnosis, patient is making good progress or whatever we want to say. And then, of course, our plan is going to go here once we actually go and do it. So let's slide on down a little bit. This is where we put our follow-up date. So if we know when we want to follow up with the patient, let's say we want to follow up in a couple of weeks, so we're going to pick the 27th, and we'll say check early progress by phone, for example, if that's what we wanted to do. Again, this is a note to staff, so this is going to show up in that tickler list, and you can say whatever you want to say that you want staff to do. If we needed to attach any files, we can do it there. And then here's where we select our diagnostic code, so we're just going to pick a couple here. We'll pick adrenal issues. We'll pick overweight. We know he's overweight. And we'll pick vitamin deficiency. All right. So again, we can put as many diagnostic codes as we need. These populate not only into the note, but they also automatically populate onto the master problem list, which is what you're seeing at the bottom. So when we get done, these will be on the master problem list. And now it's time to do our plan. So we're going to click over to the plan tab, and the first time, of course, we don't have any prior plan elements, so we're going to start from scratch, and we want to make this visible to the patient. So we're going to click Add Plan Element, and we're going to add about 3 or 4 of these plan elements to our to this particular patient's plan. By definition, the medications automatically flow into the plan. That's why the DHA pregnenolone and the lisinopril and the Metagenics are always already there. So all we do is we just kind of click to drag those into the plan. So we just we're going to drag those in, and it'll bring in the SIG as well. So the SIG is right there nicely in the plan. And then we can associate one or more problems with this. So we'll just pick. I don't quite necessarily have the right one, so I'm just going to pick and just show you how we associate a problem with that particular plan. And then we'll go on to the next one, and we'll work with that one, and we'll bring in the lisinopril. So we'll bring the lisinopril into that one. And then we can do some that are not medications. We can bring in, let's say, we're telling we want them to avoid gluten, so we're going to use calorie restriction, avoiding gluten. So we're going to drag that one in. And again, these are plan elements. These are what you're looking at is the default list of plan templates, but you can add as many as you want to the system, and then they're available, of course, for all of your patients. Eat balanced healthy meals with a target of, we'll just say, 1,200 calories a day, and avoid gluten as much as possible. Again, these can say whatever you want them to say. And again, we'll associate this one with a problem. Okay? And let's go back and associate a problem or two, actually a couple of problems with this one. Now, like I said, you can always, let's say, for example, you've got one that's not in your library yet that you want to create. So I've just added another plan element. And so this one, let's just say it's sleep. We'll say that try to get at least 8 hours sleep each night. Okay? So now, and we don't want to have to keep typing that every time. So what we're going to do is we're going to add it to the template, and we'll call this one our sleep template, sleep 8 hours. And we click that, and that now immediately adds it to my library over here. So if I go down in my library far enough, I'll find sleep 8 hours. Okay, so there it is, sleep 8 hours. Yeah, I had some other ones there as well. And so that's all it takes to add a plan element to the library. And once again, I can associate it with a problem if I choose to. I don't have to do that, but I think it's helpful. So I just keep doing it like that until I built my plan for the first time, and then I just go ahead and click Add Plan to the note. And that will then populate that entire plan into my note. And as well, once I save this note, there's the plan. It's been populated into the note. And then once I save the note, it will actually go ahead and we're going to go ahead and generate the note now and save it. So we'll generate our note. We can then scroll down through this note to review it, make sure we like it. And then once we're there, we can go ahead and save it. Once we've saved it, the plan is automatically created. It's in our notes list. We can now go back to the EHR clinical dashboard, and we can see now those 3 problems that we added to that note have been added to the master problem list. The 4 plan elements have been added to the plan. And if we go log into back into the patient portal, see if I'm still logged in, if I got logged out. If I got logged out, so we're going to log back into the patient portal here. So as we log back into the portal, we should be able to see all of this now. And so actually we can. You can see there's my medication list, okay? And then there's my plan right there. So I'm on the patient portal side now, and I can see that, again, those same data. And the nice thing is that the patient can directly go in and place their orders for items from here. So if they wanted to order this Metagenics item, they can just click that button, and that'll let them go ahead and place the order right in the shopping cart. So you see it drop that item right into the shopping cart, and now all they need to do is just go ahead and proceed to check out with that item. So that ordering process that we're using there off the RX order page, and that page, by the way, is available on both it's available for both the patient as well as the staff side, and that facilitates, again, self-service, so the patients can do a lot of things themselves, but it also makes sure they're getting the right things, because, otherwise if they're kind of wandering around in the cart and you have similar items, they might not always find what you want them to find. So let me get back there to this page, but this page here, RX order, makes it very easy for them to find the correct items. And so we can see here that the patient has found the correct items, and so that's the way that page shows up. I'll just briefly talk about lab integration. That's it. So lab integration, again, we have integrated labs from Quest, LabCorp, and a number of the other HDL, if you guys are using Health Diagnostics Laboratory. And so I don't know if I have any labs. Yeah, I got a few labs here. So, you know, this is the way the lab, these are Quest labs, but this is the way these labs come in. They'll be on this list right here. You can open them, of course, like so, to see the result. The Quest PDF itself will be right here if you really like that. This view right here is the history comparison view. So once you have multiple sets of results, you can click that view to get the results kind of side by side. And then this view right here is very interesting for functional doctors because we allow you to specify your own reference ranges and then see the results against your reference ranges instead of the lab's reference ranges. So that pretty much concludes the plan part here. I'll certainly take any questions and answer any specific questions that we have out there. But that concludes what I plan to share with you.
Awesome, Andre. Well, we do have some questions, and it's one question in 3 parts. So I'm just going to go ahead and tell you all 3 parts, and you can just answer it, okay? The first part is this platform compatible or able to accept data from the livingmatrix.com? The second part is the payment processor incorporated in the product already? And will the scheduler sync with Outlook or Google Calendar?
Okay. So let me, the first one, I'm not familiar with livingmatrix.com, so that one I wouldn't be able to answer. I can say that we're a very open platform. We aren't today integrated with them, but if that's a platform of interest, we certainly are always evaluating integrations with new partners. So I'm not familiar with it, but it is something that I'm not sure again what it's about, but it's something that we could take a look at. As far as the payment processor, yes, it's already integrated. It's authorized.net. You can use any processor. Let me get that straight. The processor is not integrated. The gateway is integrated. And some people think of those as the same, but they're not. The gateway is the part of the process that touches all the banks and gets the authorization. The processor is the one that actually moves the money into your bank account. And that person is also sometimes called a merchant bank. So you can use any merchant bank you want. And because 99% of the merchant banks that are out there and processors out there work with authorized.net as a gateway. So the only part we specify is authorized.net as a gateway. We do not specify what processor. You can use First Data, you can use Bank of America, you can use any of these merchant banks and pretty much any processor that's out there. So we do not specify the processor. The third part of the question had to do with scheduler sync. The scheduler does not directly sync, but it does give you an iCal. When a patient makes an appointment, they get an appointment confirmation email, and that appointment confirmation email has an iCal that lets them click, and it'll drop it into pretty much any of the calendar programs. So it's not a direct sync. They click that button, and then it'll drop that into their calendar. So that's the synchronization, but it does work with most calendar systems.
Awesome. Well, those were the only questions that we have.
Okay. Like I said, I look forward to seeing a lot of you at the upcoming event. We will be there fairly early on Thursday if anybody has any questions that they want to go over. We are also doing a post-webinar as well. And, of course, we'll be available all through the show at the breaks and for questions and discussions. And naturally, we will be offering a show special from a pricing perspective that'll be effective during the show for those that decide that this is the way they want to go. Again, we are the only totally complete solution that's out there really for direct pay type providers.
Awesome. Well, Andre, thank you so much. We appreciate you being here tonight, and we're looking forward to you and your team being with us at the quarterly this week. And guys, if y'all would like a recording of this webinar, I have recorded it. Just email me at bev@freedompracticecoaching.com, and I will be happy to send you the link. You guys have a good evening, and we will see y'all this weekend.
Thanks again. Good night.